Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. So we're going to talk about Tyson Fury and Tyson Fury's next fight. Obviously, he's not now fighting Deontay Wilder. That's quite clear. And while I'm at it, before I go any further, big salute, hat off if I was wearing one, to my man, my brother, Blue Blood Sports TV. Shout out to my brother there, Blue Blood. Great to see you doing your stuff. He has got an exclusive interview. If you haven't seen it already, get across to his YouTube channel. Check it out. His interview live with Bob Arum, the Bob father. So check that out where he's talking about Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and the expired contract. Talked about the fact that, Deontay Wilder nor Shelley Finkel had been in touch with Bob Arum. He'd never hadn't heard from them. So it's a great interview. So check it out. Really good interview with Blue Blood over there, Blue Blood Sports TV. Check it out over on his channel. And exclusive interview with Bob Arum. It was done just recently. So I was in just watching it briefly because I had to get across some things to do myself because I'm up doing a late night shift. Anyway, that being said, let's move on. So Tyson Fury, first of all, again, second of all, not first, second of all, shout out to my man, Coach Chris. He got a bit of flack yesterday for the whole glove gate. I try to avoid all that stuff myself personally. It's a great topic to get comments in the comment section. Of course, hey, it's important that you leave your comments in the comment section. It's great because YouTube look at that and like to know that you are watching these videos and leaving your comments in the comment section. So, Tyson Fury. So, the names that have been brought up in a hat. Lucas Browne has his ideas about wanting to fight Tyson Fury. Kabayel, the European champion. Oscar Rivas, who fought Dillian White, recently dropping Dillian White. Michael Hunter, Charles Martin. So Bob Arum has made it very clear. Tyson Fury has got to fight somebody within the top 15. Okay? So somebody in the top 15. So we're looking there. A lot of those guys are tied up, remember? Parker, White, Joshua, Pulev, Povetkin. So a lot of guys are tied up. Andy Ruiz is tied up as well. So we're going to look at guys who are not tied up, not currently fighting, and within the top 15 of the WBC. Tyson has to defend against somebody in the top 15. So the name Kabayel has been brought about a lot. He would make sense. He's German, so he's European. So he hits the European mark straight away. He has got a deal, I believe, with Top Rank as well. He's European champion. And that gives Kabayel a shot at the title. I think he's 20-0. He beat Derek Chisora quite handily. Or one of Derek Chisora's not so great nights. And he's had a few of them in his career. So I haven't looked at Kabayel in depth, and I will do a breakdown of Kabayel. Oscar Rivas is another guy. His stamina is not great, but he's a puncher. Short, squat, gets inside. I believe former Olympic pedigree as well in Oscar Rivas. Stars make fights. He poses a different proposition to what a fight with Dillian White is, because Tyson Fury is that much taller and longer than Dillian White. But there are a couple of fights out there that I would want Tyson Fury to swerve from. What I don't understand about boxing fans is this. You're one an undisputed champion, yeah? Okay, cool. But you want Tyson Fury to go in there with a killer, right? And then if he gets beat by a killer or he gets beat by a guy that's pretty decent, what is it going to be worth? Your satisfaction that Tyson Fury fought a really good opponent and you couldn't get the undisputed fight. We've had the undisputed already messed up once by Matchroom. Matchroom Boxing messed up Wilder versus Joshua. We know that. That goes back to when Barry Hearn said back. Bazza Hearn went back a long time ago when he was fishing and said Shelley Finkel approached them for Joshua versus Wilder. He said that fight shouldn't happen until 2021. So, according to Barry Hearn, he would not have fought Wilder if Wilder was still champion. He would not have fought Wilder till 2021. So all these people that want to talk about Wilder and how they wanted to fight Wilder, then it was ridiculous. You know, it was out of the question. Hello, salute, my brother. What's good? Lawrence Willington, see the questions in the room. Let's get them out. Great. Good to see you guys. Hair looking good, bro. Keep going. You'll be Charles Martin. Yeah, there's always one with a funny comment, isn't there? Bro, listen to me. You understand with his hairstyle now? For those brothers in the know, keep your power, brothers. Keep your power. It's not cutting my hair. It's been a best thing going. Winner of Roy Jones, Tyson Fury, a better opponent than Lucas Browne for sure. Oh, absolutely. F.A. Ajagba. I don't think F.A. Ajagba is realistic. Yes, he's with Top Rank, not a European opponent, and I believe they're looking for a European opponent. I don't think they'll pick on Ajagba. Not at all. I still have my doubts about them making AJ and Fury. I have my doubts of that fight ever happening because I don't think AJ gets past Pulev. I've said it a long time, but I told you guys about White versus Povetkin. I told you about Joshua versus Ruiz, the first one. So, hey, it won't be made until the fans are back. Okay. You look younger with your hair than with the skinhead. Well, it was a project. We waited a long time for it, but we got it going. Glad you like it. More projects to come with the hairstyle. AJ Fury won't happen at all, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Right. So, here's a fight that should not happen. For boxing fans, yes, I know you'll say, oh, this is a good fight. But you don't want the heavyweight division is just you're just a punch away from disaster. Tyson Fury is a punch away from disaster. I'm telling you, one punch and the heavyweight division is in ruins because before you know it, if Fury gets beat, you got Tyson's got to have a rematch with whoever he's got to fight, and then we'll talk about it in a minute. And then all of a sudden you've got a problem. You've got a real problem because then you've got to get the rematch. And Bob Arum doesn't do rematches. He says he doesn't like rematches. So, we'll have to see about that. Any interview with Bashir? I know you've been asking for a Bashir interview. Problem with the Bashir interview is this. Bashir doesn't really want to talk at the moment. Uncle Bashir doesn't want to talk. Since the injury, I mean, it's been difficult to talk to Uncle Bashir. It really has. He's been I don't know if he's gun shy or doesn't want to do the interview. But he hasn't been the same Uncle Bashir since the injury. He hasn't. So I hope that I hope and pray we get that soon. But I have got a couple of big interviews lined up for you. Got a couple of OGs coming into the house. Look out at the end of the month. We'll be talking to Leon Mohammed. He'll be giving us an exclusive, and a couple of other OGs, real old school boxing. Hopefully, my good brother, who I've been talking to for ages, I need to get him back in the room. He is the grandson of the great, and I say again, great Henry Armstrong. We'll be getting him back in the room as well as soon as possible. We're going to get those things lined up for you if we do get that second lockdown. God bless anyway. God bless Uncle Bashir. I do talk to him, not as frequently as I used to. There's a lot of issues there, with Uncle. Upset, really upset, and it's hard. It's emotional. And talking to him, although he may be healing, it's not the same man. It really isn't. He's not the same man, and it's a real shame. And I see that it's a real shame because it was only a week ago to this day that he had been injured. So we'll have to get Asghar back in as well at some point. Okay, so one fight I think Fury needs to keep well away of, and hopefully all the American fighters that are going anywhere near, is this man, Michael Hunter. I don't want to hear anybody tell me rubbish about Michael Hunter can't fight big guys. He fought Kuzman, he fought Usmanov, and they're big guys, right? Michael Hunter is not the type of guy that Tyson Fury needs to be fighting. He's agile. He moves well. He's for the heavyweight championship of the world. A man like Hunter's hungry. No. Avoid Michael Hunter like a plague. Get away from Michael Hunter. Get away from Michael Hunter. You do not want that fight. You know what Tyson wants is more like a punching bag, a guy that's going to put his hands up and walk forward. What he doesn't want, Tyson, is guys that are going to, two things he doesn't want. He wants guys who chuck overhand rights that are shorter than him, and he doesn't want guys that are going to work his body. You understand? When a guy's got a decent chin, he can take a good shot. Guys who work the body, that's Tyson. You don't really see people go to Tyson's body that much. It doesn't allow him to get that close. I don't like the Rivas fight. I don't like a Charles Martin fight, and I certainly do not like a Michael Hunter fight. So maybe Caballero might be better. You know, he's got that sort of Christian Hammer. I don't know where they're going with Christian Hammer versus Dave Allen. Christian Hammer's a good fighter. It's a damn good fighter. I don't know where they're going with that. But anyway, so yeah, I think if I'm going to go, I'll go with Caballero. I'd go with Caballero. If I have to go with someone, I'm going with Caballero. Forget FA Jagba. But in FA Jagba, I can't see that fight happening. Although he's top ranked, tall, long. No, I'm not an FA Jagba fan. I'm sorry. When I first saw the guy, I thought, yeah. When he knocked over Mansour, he looked good. But I don't know. Since he's changed trainers, he looked at that last performance put me to sleep. So I'm not a big FA Jagba fan. Really not. You're right, Fury's one punch away from disaster, and Otto Wallin was almost that guy. That's what I'm saying to you. That is what I'm saying to you. Fury needs to he needs to be very careful. He's pushing for this fight. He hasn't fought for a year. Needs to be careful. Do you understand? He needs to be careful. All the show business stuff and the WWE and all stuff, that's great. But now he's going back into boxing again, and I don't know what he's been doing in between. And he's been keeping himself in shape and whatever. This is a dangerous time. And the history of heavyweight boxing, like I said, you're always a punch away. And how many times have you seen in boxing where fights were meant to go and say, this was meant to happen? Look, Tommy Morrison was due to fight Herbie Hyde. I think that fight was going to happen. Morrison Hyde. Michael Benn steps in and knocks Tommy Morrison out. Remember that? So you're one punch away. And, well, look at the fight with Tyson and Otto Wallin. He was a guy that nobody expected anything of. And Wallin went and did that. So because of that fight, Otto Wallin is now some superstar fighter. I don't understand it personally. But yeah, Hunter beat Bacola too. In fact, on this channel, Bashir warned us about Hunter. I would avoid Hunter like a plague. Andy Ruiz, when he fought the Joshua fight, the guy they were lining up was Trevor Bryant. But they didn't want to negotiate with Don King. So they skipped Bryant and they picked on and looked for the fat boy, Andy Ruiz. Ruiz knew exactly what was going on. He knew that as soon as Anthony Joshua engaged, that was his moment. So, but you know how boxing works. You know how boxing works. You know what happened. Leave it to the last minute to decide who they're going to fight. Already be training camp for that fighter, and then say to them, like with a month's notice, yeah, we want to fight you. So guys like Hunter, Martin, all these guys are going to put on notice now. Their careers are like, oh, I can get a big fight with the WBC champion. So they're all preparing. But you can't prepare really and get sparring partners in until you know who you're really going to, if you're really going to get the fight or not. So all these guys are like, oh, waiting for the call, waiting for the call. And a lot of them probably are not in the shape they should be. And where are we now? October, December the 5th. So October, November, a month and a bit to prepare for a fight. If that, and that's if they announce the fight today. But strategically, they'll leave it until a little later. You know, they'll say, yeah, December the 5th, Tyson's in camp. He knows who's going to fight because he'll get that advantage, know when he's going to fight, and then release it a week or two later. So the guy, whoever they're going to fight, doesn't have as much time to prepare. That is just smart. That's boxing smarts. So we know it's going to be at the Royal Albert Hall because obviously Yard and Arthur are fighting that night. That's going to be a great pay-per-view card. You got Arthur and Yard, and then Tyson Fury on that card as well. Nice, very nice. Actually, Morrison was lined up to fight Lennox Lewis in a unification bout. He got past Ben. Was it? Oh, okay. Okay, I'm correct there, but thank you so much, Dan the man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a while back though, but it was something like that. Some fight was going to happen. I thought Herbie Hyde was going to fight. No, you're right. You're correct because Hyde beat Ben for the title. You're correct. Absolutely correct there. Spot on. So yeah, Morrison was due to fight. Morrison was due to fight Lennox Lewis for the unification bout, and it fell through because he got beat by Ben. Ben went on to got beat by Herbie Hyde. Correct. Absolutely, stand corrected. Also, fights that have happened like Holyfield Tyson. The night Holyfield's in the attendance to see for the Mike Tyson fight. Holyfield sitting ringside, and of course, we all know what happened in Tokyo. Tyson got knocked out by Buster Douglas. Well, that long count and all the rest of it. So yeah, so I would, if I'm Tyson Fury, you swerve Mike Hunt. I don't care what the fans think because the fans haven't got a clue. For most of the part, the fans have got a clue. They'll go on, they want Tyson to fight the best guy possible out there. Tyson will get beat, and then they'll say, "Oh, we've got a unification bout now." And then we'll spend another year faffing around with some other guy who's got a belt now. So if it's Cabaya or let's imagine Michael Hunter or let's say Michael Hunter wins the title. Is he going to want an immediate rematch with Tyson Fury, or is he going to make a voluntary defense? So all that stuff comes into the equation as well. So I think it's very, very careful. They've got to be so careful because there's no guarantee. A lot of you may believe that Joshua's odds on to beat Pulev. I'm not so convinced because I don't know what Joshua's going to show up. Is it Joshua that fought Andy Ruiz the first time or the second time? Each version of that Joshua is a problem because he's not going to be a dance around the ring against Kubrat Pulev. That won't work. And if he stands to try and blast Pulev out, he gets shut down by the double jab because we've seen Joshua before. If Andy Ruiz can beat Anthony Joshua to the jab, go back and look at the fight. If Andy Ruiz can beat Anthony Joshua to the jab, God knows what Kubrat Pulev is going to do. And Kubrat Pulev is a better boxer than Andy Ruiz. I just have a problem with how Joshua gets past the double jab. And when he gets backed up with a double jab, we know that Joshua's is a great specimen of a fighter coming forward using his own jab, right hand, uppercut. He's great moving forward. But when you push Joshua backwards, you make him have to fight on the back foot with a double jab. Then he starts backing up against the ropes, doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to do. He hasn't learned how to spin himself out of a corner. He doesn't know how to do things like that. Like I said, he's a great fighter coming forward when he's thinking about what he's doing. But once he starts to open up, Joshua, his chin gets in the air and all this stuff starts happening, and that's where he gets clocked. And he can't afford to do it against Pulev. And don't for one second think, well, Pulev can't punch. Pulev's a 250-pound man plus hitting you on the chin. That's Pulev. I would not be banking my house on if Pulev connects on Joshua's chin, him taking it. I'm sorry. So I'm just very concerned. I'm very concerned. And then there goes Tyson Fury fighting in, it's another thing. Fury fighting for the first time with no fans. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. And we just don't know how COVID and Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua or any of these other heavyweights, like imagine, for example, check this. Imagine a fighter who had no fear or he had fear of crowds and he didn't perform his best because he had concerns about the crowd. He was one of them kind of guys. And then there's no crowd. So guys that normally wouldn't perform, suddenly there's no crowd. Oh, they're tearaways. And there's some guys who need a crowd to get them motivated. They need a crowd to get that buzz. They need to feel the crowd behind them to get that extra energy to get up or to. And there's no crowd there now. So that's another concern which we may not be taking into consideration with some of these fighters. Could be interesting this weekend, Lomachenko and Lopez. If it doesn't start working out for Lopez, if he's not able to find Lomachenko, if he's not able to land the big shots, if he's not able to see Lomachenko get hurt, How does that be like, we're just hearing your dad shouting in the corner, Lomachenko's dad shouting in the corner. How's that going to be? How do those dynamics work? Because before, you had a crowd in the background making noises. Then you've got the Shanies shouting as well. It's different. Now you are hearing the instructions of both fights from both camps going back and forth. It's a different world for these boxers, and it's going to be interesting when they get in there, these heavyweights, how they respond. It didn't work out for Dillian Whyte. He was looking up at the lights. And it was all going okay for Dillian until, boom. As a matter of fact, speaking on that, Povetkin says that he felt okay after the fight, no big celebration, and he's looking to do the same thing again. The story is from his camp or from his corner, Povetkin said, or his camp said, that they were looking for that punch, but there wasn't the opening. They were waiting for the opening for Povetkin to land that uppercut. So they had it planned. It was a planned punch. The opening they were looking for. They said there was an opening within Dillian Whyte. So they've studied Dillian Whyte so much that they know he's going to leave the opening. And as soon as he left the opening, bang, the shot came through. It's very interesting. So what are they going to do? What are they going to do in Camp White for the rematch? Are they going to tighten up that defense? If they believe that they don't have to just do the same things they did before and they'll get the win, then Povetkin will do just the same things as he did before, which is look for the opening. And if they don't know where the opening is, because there is an opening, there's been an opening from the Joshua fight, there's been an opening for the Rivas fight, there's been an opening for the Parker fight. Those are all the fights that got dropped in. So there is an opening. So if you decide to go back into camp doing the same thing you did before, then you're looking to get the same results. Like, doing the same things, expecting different results is insanity. So if you bang your head against a brick wall and the brick wall ain't going nowhere, do you think by continuing banging your head against a brick wall, the brick wall's going to go somewhere? Clearly, you shouldn't be banging your head against a brick wall in the first place. So they're going to have to think of some other plan B. Seems like the fight's not going to be in Russia. It's going to be back in the UK. They're going to have a plan B, because if they see again, there are things that White does naturally, which is he pulls himself to the rope, he walks towards the ropes, he backs himself voluntarily to the ropes. He doesn't stay in the center ring for too long. He backs to the ropes. And I said, if his back touches the ropes or anywhere near the ropes against Povetkin, red alert. Yeah, he's going to have to hold center of the ring and pick his shots and be defensively responsible, which he hasn't been. So he's got a big task ahead of him if he's going to continue with the same mindset of trying to break down Povetkin with this type of throw one punch here, throw one punch there, pick this punch there, pick that punch there, because you weren't that sort of fighter in the first place. That was never your style. Now you want to become a surgeon when you've been you've been a boxer, a brawler boxer, right? That's what you've been. And now you are the biggest fight of your career. You suddenly want to become a surgeon. Really? Against a guy that can take you out of one shot. It's probably best you go back to what you do best. So anyway, that's their business. What they do. Pulev will confuse Joshua like he did with Hugh Fury, who has way better boxing skills than AJ. Well, there you go. White gets knocked out again. That's another thing. While we talk about Dillian Whyte, according to the WBC, this is interesting reading. The WBC said that they feel that Dillian Whyte is coming back too soon. Too soon. And they also believe that at the moment, it's not sanctioned. The WBC have not sanctioned that fight. They do not recognize that fight as an interim fight, and they don't recognize that fight as a mandatory fight. They don't recognize it. And the only reason why they recognized it back then was because there was legal action being taken against them. So if the WBC want to be really nasty, they could give Povetkin Whyte rematch without sanctioning it and making it mandatory. And if it's not mandatory, It don't matter. Imagine that. Look, this is the same WBC that tell us with their franchise belt. They're the same people that tell us, well, if you get beat, you can't get beat. You can't get beat because you're a franchise champion. We know what franchise means. Brother, this is crazy. Of course it's crazy. Spot on about White. Well, yeah, I said it from the start about Dillian White when I did the breakdown for the build to this fight. So I don't know what they're trying to do with him now. I ain't got a clue what they're trying to do. Dillian said he only had 12 days off before going into camp, which is rather worrying for his health. Well, again, look, this is how do I put this? Listen, for you Caribbean people out there who love your stew chicken, right? Your stew chicken, if your stew chicken ain't got certain ingredients in there, right? If it hasn't got that taste to it, if it hasn't got that, it hasn't got certain seasonings in it, it hasn't got that Caribbean all-purpose seasoning, or it hasn't got the jerk seasoning to it, or whatever the season would be that makes the chicken taste good, right? Or forget that. Let's make this more universal. For those of you who go to Nando's, when you go to Nando's and you sit down, if you're eating chicken, you eat your chicken at Nando's, right? Nando's, the chicken has a certain taste to it. And then you have your lemon and herb, or you have your pepper sauce, and your pepper burns your tongue, yeah? When the pepper's burning your tongue, it's hot pepper. Now, it can only be hot pepper if the ingredients are in there to make it hot, right? So, with Dillian White in his camp, the temperature can only be as hot as what the chef knows. If the chef don't know how to turn the temperature up, if the chef don't know how to put the certain ingredients in the pot, if he don't know, he don't know. He can't pass that knowledge on to anybody else. So really and truly, if the ingredients are not there from the start, they won't be there on fight night. If they don't know, they don't know. If it's guesswork, then it's going to be guesswork on the night. The only way this Povetkin problem is solved is by knowledge. I'm not saying his trainer don't have the knowledge. I'm not saying his trainer do have the knowledge. But the examination, the test is on the night. Had Dillian White fought the way we know he usually fights, would that result have happened against Povetkin? Because a usual Dillian White who goes out there and knocks a guy down, goes to take him out. He don't mess about. So let me ask you this. Christian Shields is a good champion, but I look at her as I did Ronda Rousey. She's fine as long as the division does not deepen. The moment the skill set deepens, she will get swept away. Interesting. Okay, good evening, by the way. Someone on Twitter said they have chicken medium rare the other day. Chicken medium, just to confuse things. The veteran KO of White was a highlight reel of his KO at the hands of AJ. Almost the same set of punches. That's a deeper thing. That's what I'm saying to you. Technical. If you haven't addressed those issues, and it says, oh well, if Mark Tibbs was there, it would make a difference. Mark Tibbs was there when Rivas knocked him down. Mark Tibbs was there when Parker knocked him down. Mark Tibbs was in the corner. Remember that. A trainer can't stop a guy getting knocked down. Right? It's down to the fighter, ultimately. The trainer gives the fighter something to do. If the fighter doesn't do it, or doesn't want to do it, or can't do it, that's not the trainer's fault. The trainer's put it out there. It's down to the fighter. So you know, and I said before, you know, you're now going to go and fight the way you originally fought against Povetkin, and you're not 100%. You can't be 100%. I don't think White knows whether he's a brawler or a boxer, but I do. I remember him saying this years ago. That's it. Who are you? What are you doing? I've got less than 5 minutes left, right? But yeah, I've got less than 5 minutes left, and then I cross the waters. Yeah. Again, just to finish, shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV. Get over there and check his channel out with the Bob Arum interview. Listen, I love when I see fellow YouTubers get exclusives. I had quite a few exclusives in my time, so there's no hating for me here. It's good to see other people step up, do the business, and get those exclusives. Really shout to Blue Blood for that. You know, it's really great, especially when you people get hate. They'll rise above that and get an interview like that. I'm really, really impressed. And that is obviously during a time where you're not able to just go and do interviews like that. So shout out. And really good in questions being asked. No ass kissing. Good, solid interview questions. I don't think what. Yeah, I've said that. Good, great stuff. All right, let me get out of here. And I shall see you all very soon. Cameron, we'll definitely get you back on the show. For those of you who love Coach Chris, we'll get him back on the show as well. And some really big news coming with BWTM. We're working on some new things. So we'll be able to offer the opportunity for people who want to start blogging. If they want to start blogging on the channel, we can have you start blogging. So we got new bloggers on. We're going to be going deeper into MMA. We're going to bring in a guy on who does MMA and UFC, or he has a lot of knowledge on that. So we'll be doing that, stepping into that field of things, and a few other things coming on to BWTM as well. So we're pushing really hard, and I'll be launching a product shortly as well. I'm really excited about that. So things are looking up, really looking up. I just need to find a cameraman now to get this show on the road. But anyway, that's enough for me from now. I'm going to get out of here. Great to see you in the room, Cameron, as always, and everybody else. Can't say keep trucking, can I? Because that's Porky. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll see you all soon. Take care.